Watching Question Period on Fridays is sometimes, well, not very exciting. But this week, things were a little bit different. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. This week in Parliament, the Conservatives went on the attack, questioning the Liberals and their financial choices, and how it's driving Canada to the brink of destruction. Let's go to Friday's Question Period and see what's happening.
Oral questions. Questions orales. The Honourable Sturgeon River Parkland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Liberals' cap on Canada's prosperity is a threat to the livelihood of all Canadians. All Canadians benefit from the support of our oil and gas sector in terms of jobs, investment, royalties, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, our dollar. This production cap will mean fewer jobs, less investment, less taxes to fund hospitals and schools, and higher inflation on everything as our dollar collapses against the U.S. Meanwhile, more jobs for American energy and steelworkers. Will this Liberal government finally put aside its obsession with grinding our energy sector down, unleash Canada's energy superpower, and scrap the cap?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Environment and Climate Change.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. Let's stick to the facts. Canada's overall emissions are the lowest that they've been since 1997. That's the year that Connor McDavid was born, and they're going down thanks to climate action undertaken by this Liberal government. The Alberta oil sands are by far the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions in Canada, and the Conservatives want to turn a blind eye to unlimited pollution in the oil sands. Madam Speaker, Alberta's far-right Premier Danielle Smith has spent $7 million on a misinformation campaign here in Ottawa to make polluting free again. That's $7 million that could have hired new teachers, new nurses, new doctors, but instead she's shilling for big oil and gas, and these Conservatives are helping her do it.
Good answer. Good answer.
This guy is just one of the worst. He gets up all the time and just completely lies and obfuscates the facts. Now, Danielle Smith did spend $7 million on an ad campaign. She admitted that, but she did it for a very good purpose. That was to counteract all of the Liberal lies and to tell Canadians the actual truth. If it weren't for Liberals lying, Danielle Smith wouldn't have had to spend all that money.
Well, Madam Speaker, speaking of misinformation from this Liberals, the Environment Commissioner confirmed that this Liberal government is not on track to meet its own emissions reduction targets. Canadians are paying the cost of this Liberal government's carbon tax, and it's all pain and no gain. Under the Conservative, Canada's economy grew, and emissions actually went down. But under these Liberals, Canada's GDP per capita is collapsing under the weight of tax hikes. The Liberals' real plan to hit their emissions targets is to collapse our economy and move more jobs south of the border. When will they have the courage to finally admit it and let Canadians decide in a carbon tax election?
So this has been the theme for the past week ever since Donald Trump has been re-elected. With the insane Liberal policies, they are driving jobs south of the border. In fact, some Canadian companies are starting manufacturing facilities south of the border. The Liberal policies are even driving the oil and gas industry to dictatorships, dirty dictators, as the Conservatives have pointed out.
The Salvation Army released yet another devastating report on rising food costs. The Liberals' tax and spend policies are driving up costs for farmers who grow the food, truckers who ship the food, and sadly, for families who eat the food. With malnutrition on the rise and scurvy making a comeback, it's no wonder that Canadians are dissatisfied with the menu of higher taxes and inflationary spending offered by these Liberals. It's time to axe the tax so Canadians can afford to eat, and get themselves to work. When will this NDP Liberal government let Canadians decide in a carbon tax election?
When diseases like scurvy are on the rise in Canada, you know that there's something wrong. People aren't getting the nutrition that they need, and they aren't getting the nutrition that they need because food prices are so high, and food prices are so high because of Liberal policies.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We know that we are going through expensive times. This is exactly why we've made investment like the Canada Child Benefit. This means that we send parents over $7,000 per year to help with the cost of raising kids. Parents, when the Conservative leader talks about cuts, he's saying that it will cut these checks and make your family worse off. Is this what families need? No, I don't think so. We fight for Canadians, and we are there when times are tough.
Well, that's just a typical communist response now, isn't it? Make things too expensive for people to live and survive on their own so that they have to rely on the government, and then blame the Conservatives for wanting to make things cheaper, to make things more livable. Accuse the Conservatives of wanting to take money out of your pocket, when in actual fact, you will have more money in your pocket because things will be more livable under the Conservatives.
The Honourable Member for Bellechasse-Lévis. Madam Speaker, new StatsCan data confirms that this government has failed. Per capita GDP has gone down over 8 of the last 9 quarters. People's quality of life is going down, whereas in the U.S., growth has reached 2.8%, much better. With an increase in the carbon tax and taxes on housing and capital gains, the government is once again putting downward pressure on per capita GDP, and this is affecting families. So my question is simple. Will the Prime Minister axe these tax increases which are making Canadians poorer? Madam Speaker, I think that the Conservatives have an inferiority complex towards the U.S. The IMF, Madam Speaker, has predicted that Canada will have stronger growth than the U.S. next year. And this morning, StatsCan revealed that we have created 15,000 jobs in the month of October. Madam Speaker, I hope my colleague understands that we will be there to ensure that the economy continues to grow. I am proud of being Canadian. Why aren't the Conservatives? The Honourable Member for Bellechasse-Lévis. Madam Speaker, The Economist has revealed that Canada is actually poorer than Alabama, the 4th poorest state in the U.S. But under this Liberal government, $450 billion investment dollars have left Canada and gone to the U.S., which has a faster growing economy than ours. So, will the Prime Minister slash taxes to support Canadian families? It's very simple. It's not hard to do, Madam Speaker.
I've nothing against Alabama. I'd actually probably like to go and visit someday. But Alabama being the 4th poorest U.S. state and Canada's economy being worse off than Alabama, that's nothing to be proud about. And the Liberals just ignore it, just sweep it under the rug as if it's no big deal. Well, these Liberals are ruining our country. They're taxing us to death. And now that Donald Trump is in power, well, hopefully we will see some of the benefits of the improved economy in the United States. But we are so far behind the United States right now that it's going to take a lot to catch up. We need a change in government, and we need a change now. We're just falling too far behind. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you think. Put your comments down below. And while you're at it, please like this video, share with your friends and on social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification so you never miss another video. I also invite you to join me on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific time for my live stream, where you can join in on the conversation. Finally, if you need your Canadian firearms license for employment or for hunting or for sport shooting, I teach courses that are the prerequisite for getting your Canadian firearms license. If you live on Vancouver Island or will be on Vancouver Island for any length of time, I invite you to look me up. There are links in the description of this video to my website where you can sign up to take the Canadian Firearms Safety course. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.